Hey there, coin lovers! Hold on to your pennies, because today we're diving into a coin that's worth a lot more than just a penny, the 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. This coin might not look like much, but trust me, it's hiding a big secret. We're talking about a coin that could be worth $1.1 million. Yeah, you heard that right, $1.1 million. That's like finding a golden ticket in your pocket when you thought you just had lint. Before we get started, here's a quick question for you. Have you ever wondered how a simple penny can be worth so much? No, it's not magic. Well, maybe a little. Stick with me, and I'll show you how this tiny coin turned into a massive treasure. And trust me, by the end of this video, you might just go digging through your own change jar. Who knows? Maybe you've got $1 million coin lying around in there, so grab your magnifying glass, get comfy, and let's take a look at what makes this 1984 no-mint mark penny so special. Let's dive in. Alright, let's set the stage. It's 1984. Madonna is ruling the radio waves, mullets are in fashion, for better or worse, and there you are, just a regular person, holding a penny in your hand. Little did you know, you were about to stumble upon a coin that could make you richer than your wildest dreams. Now, the first thing that makes the 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny stand out is, you guessed it, the fact that it doesn't have a mint mark. If you're wondering, what's a mint mark? It's that tiny letter on the coin, usually under the year, which tells you where it was made. A D means Denver, a S means San Francisco, and a blank space means, well, no mint mark at all. Normally, no mint mark is kind of rare but not exactly earth-shattering. However, when it comes to the 1984 penny, it's like that rare collector's item that people go absolutely nuts for. Imagine buying a vintage toy car, only to find out it's one of the very few that was made by accident with a different paint job. That's kind of the vibe here. Here's where it gets interesting. The 1984 no-mint mark penny is believed to be a rare mistake. Now, most pennies from this year were supposed to have a mint mark, meaning this little guy slipped through the cracks, and it didn't get stamped with the usual D4 Denver. Experts think this is due to a production error, and as it turns out, people love a good mistake in the coin world. It's like those famous error stamps you see on limited edition prints. The value goes way up, and now, I know what you're thinking, so what? It's just a penny without a stamp. But here's the kicker, the 1984 no-mint mark penny has been known to sell for around $1.1 million, depending on its condition. I mean, talk about a penny for your thoughts, right? Imagine looking at your spare change and finding out one of them is worth as much as a house in the suburbs. That's basically what happened here. Let me throw in a little personal story here. A few years ago, I was going through a box of old coins that my grandmother passed down to me. I was just casually looking through them when I came across this beat-up penny. I was about to toss it into the not worth much pile when I remembered a coin expert once telling me that sometimes even the most seemingly insignificant coins can be worth a fortune. I pulled out my phone, Googled the year, and, turns out, I had an error coin. Not $1 million, but still a few $100. It felt like I'd just hit a mini jackpot. If you're sitting on a 1984 no-mint mark penny, well, that's like hitting the big time. So, how do you know if you've got one of these bad boys? It all comes down to the mint mark. But before you break out the magnifying glass, there's one important thing to note. If the penny is too worn or damaged, it might not fetch as much, even if it's a mistake coin. It's kind of like finding an old toy from your childhood but realizing it's got a missing wheel and a couple of dents. Still cool, but not worth as much as if it were in pristine condition. The best way to get a solid value for your 1984 no-mint mark penny is to take it to a professional coin appraiser. They'll be able to tell you if it's the real deal. And remember, it's all about the condition. The better it looks, the higher the price, so there you have it. The 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just any old coin, it's a rare piece of history that could potentially make you a millionaire. And if you're like me and love a good treasure hunt, this might just be the next thing you want to start checking in your spare change. If you've learned something new today, and who knows, maybe even checked your pockets for that $1 million penny, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I've got a ton of videos coming your way with tips and tricks on how to find valuable coins, what to look for, and strategies to start your own coin collection. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on these tips. Who knows? The next time you check your coins, it might be worth way more than just a penny. Alright, folks, thanks for hanging out with me today. Go out there, hunt for those rare coins, and who knows? Your next find might just make you the next big coin mogul. Hey, what if I told you that you might have a coin sitting in your pocket right now worth over $1 million? Sounds crazy, right? But, believe it or not, that's the reality for some lucky coin collectors who have the 1970s Lincoln penny. That's right, a simple penny, something you've probably tossed in the jar with your spare change or maybe even forgotten about. But hold on, before you toss it out with the rest, you might want to listen to this. A penny? Worth $1 million? Yeah, right. But trust me, this isn't some magic trick or some random hype. This coin's value is very real, and I'm about to tell you why you need to take a closer look at your pockets and maybe even that jar of pennies you've been saving. So grab your magnifying glass and get ready, because today, we're diving deep into the world of the 1970s Lincoln penny and its insane value of $1.2 million. Let's get into it. Now, before we start geeking out over the details, let's talk about the basics. You've seen the 1970s Lincoln penny, right? I mean, it's pretty much the same as every other penny you've ever seen in circulation: Abraham Lincoln's face, the date, the liberty inscribed, and that iconic "In God We Trust" on the front. And on the back? The familiar Lincoln Memorial. So far, nothing seems out of the ordinary. In 1970, there were some minting issues, which created a very special, very rare variety of penny. The 1970s penny has some unique characteristics that make it stand out, specifically, a doubling error in the minting process. In other words, some of these pennies were struck in such a way that the design on the coin was accidentally doubled. This is known as a doubled die obverse variety, and it's incredibly rare. Only a handful of these bad boys exist, which makes them not just rare, but super valuable. So, how did this happen? Well, it turns out the US Mint had a bit of a glitch in the system. The die used to strike the penny wasn't quite aligned properly, which caused the image to be pressed twice, resulting in that doubled effect. This is what coin collectors call a doubled die. Now, you may be wondering how something as small as a die misalignment can create such a huge value spike. Let me put it this way: collectors are always on the lookout for errors. And when it comes to coins, the rarer and more unique the error, the higher the value. But the most important thing to note here is that this isn't some vague "yeah, there might be one out there somewhere" kind of deal. No, we're talking about a verified error that makes the 1970s penny not just a collector's dream, but a jackpot for anyone lucky enough to find it. Now, let's talk about that cool $1.2 million figure. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1970s Lincoln penny can fetch upwards of $1.2 million on the open market, depending on its condition and rarity. Some have even sold for more, depending on how rare the doubling error is and the coin's grade. But it's important to remember that this is no ordinary penny you'll just find in your spare change. These coins are in extremely limited supply, and they're usually in top-notch condition when they're sold for those crazy prices. Most of them are in private collections, and only a few have ever made it to public auction. Now, don't go checking every penny in your wallet just yet. Finding one of these is like finding a needle in a haystack. But if you do happen to have one of these elusive coins, you're sitting on a small fortune. Imagine opening up your coin jar and realizing you've got a $1.2 million penny hiding in there. Wouldn't that be the greatest oops moment of your life? And speaking of finding hidden gems, let me tell you a little story from my own experience. I remember a few years ago, I was at a garage sale, one of those treasure hunting kind of deals. I was just strolling around, half-heartedly looking at old books and random knickknacks, when something shiny caught my eye. It was an old, tarnished penny. I was about to walk away, but then I decided to do the classic penny check and flipped it over. Sure enough, there was a mint mark. But not just any mint mark, it was a D. Long story short, it wasn't worth $1.2 million, but it did end up being worth a little more than your average penny. So trust me when I say always check your pennies. You never know when you might come across a rare find. So, let's talk about what to look for. If you're hunting for a 1970s doubled die Lincoln penny, here are some things to keep in mind. First, you're looking for doubling on Lincoln's face, the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," and the date itself. The doubling should be noticeable with the naked eye, especially if you use a magnifying glass or a loupe. It won't look like just a little smudge. No, this is a genuine, noticeable doubling, and if you spot it, well, congratulations, you might just be holding onto a small fortune. Now, let's say you found your rare 1970 penny. What should you do next? Well, step 1 is to get it graded. That means sending it to a professional grading service like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC. They'll give your coin a grade based on its condition, which will ultimately determine how much it's worth. Once you have it graded, you can then decide whether to sell it at an auction, through a coin dealer, or even privately. But whatever you do, don't just give it away. Remember, you've got a potential $1 million coin in your hands. Alright, folks, that's all for today. I hope you're now on the lookout for your own 1970 Lincoln penny, but remember, finding one of these rare coins is a huge stroke of luck. But even if you don't find one, there are still plenty of other valuable coins out there, so keep hunting. And hey, if you enjoyed today's video and want more tips on valuable coins, rare finds, and how to cash in on your coin collection, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on more tips and tricks to help you discover coins worth big money. Hey there, fellow coin lovers. Picture this: you're sorting through a pile of loose change, the usual pennies, nickels, maybe a quarter or two, and then boom, you spot something that looks different. It's a 2016 mint Mark Lincoln penny, and you've just hit the jackpot. Wait, did you just say a penny is worth a small fortune? That's right. Stick around, because today, we're diving into how a 2016 mint Mark Lincoln penny could be worth a whopping $1.3 million. Yup, you heard me right, a penny. So, grab your magnifying glass, your detective hat, and let's dig deep into the world of coins, where even the smallest penny can change your life. Alright, first things first, let's talk about the 2016 mint Mark Lincoln penny. Now, you might be thinking, a penny? $1.3 million? Surely, this guy's off his rocker. But, hold on to your change purse, because there's more to this story than meets the eye. The 2016 Lincoln penny, just like any other penny, was minted to honor the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. He's famous for freeing the slaves, delivering the Gettysburg Address, and keeping the Union together during the Civil War. You'd think a penny with his face on it would be worth more, right? But let's get into the juicy stuff. So, why is this 2016 penny so valuable? Well, it's all about something called a minting error. This coin wasn't made quite right, and as a result, it's rare. A little mistake can make a huge difference when it comes to coins. But before we get into that, let me tell you a funny story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my wallet, and I found an old penny that I thought was a total dud. I almost tossed it in the jar with all the other random coins I never look at. Then I remembered, wait, coins sometimes get their value from being, well, not perfect. So, I decided to take a second look. No, it wasn't worth $1 million, sadly, but it taught me to never underestimate a penny again. And now, I'm here to tell you that this 2016 mint Mark penny might be sitting in your coin jar waiting to make you a small fortune. Okay, so here's the deal: this penny is part of a very specific group of rare coins. The 2016 penny, which was minted in Denver, has a unique error. It has what's called a doubled die effect. This happens when the die, the stamp used to imprint the design onto the coin, strikes the penny more than once, slightly misaligning the image each time. This creates a noticeable doubling effect on certain parts of Lincoln's portrait, and it's exactly this little flaw that makes this penny highly sought after by collectors. Now, don't get too excited just yet. Just because you've got a 2016 Lincoln penny in your collection doesn't mean it's automatically worth $1.3 million. In fact, finding one of these with the right kind of doubling, in excellent condition, and properly authenticated is rare. But let's break down how you can tell if your penny is one of these million-dollar wonders. So, how do you know if your 2016 penny is worth a fortune? Well, first, check for the doubling effect on Lincoln's face, the date, and the words Liberty and In God We Trust. These areas are where the doubling is most noticeable. You should be able to see a faint second image next to the primary design, sort of like a blurry ghost version of the original engraving. Next, look at the condition of your penny. Is it in great shape, or is it a bit worn out from spending years rattling around in your pocket? Coins in better condition, especially those with the doubling die effect visible, are obviously going to fetch more money. So, don't go getting excited over a dirty, scratched penny. But if it's in great shape, and you see the doubling, congratulations. You might be holding onto something worth a lot more than 1 cent. Oh, and here's a fun fact for you: when I first started researching these pennies, I actually had to use a magnifying glass to spot the doubling. Talk about feeling like an old-timey detective, right? I felt like Sherlock Holmes, but with pennies instead of mysterious crimes to solve. Not quite as exciting, but still, that moment when I spotted the doubling, it was like hitting the jackpot without the confetti. I had to calm myself down and make sure I wasn't just seeing things. So, what's the current market value of this elusive penny? Well, as of now, if you've got a mint condition 2006 Lincoln penny with the doubled die error, you could be looking at a value of up to $1.3 million. Yep, that's right, $1.3 million for a penny. But don't go running to the nearest coin dealer just yet. The value of your penny depends heavily on its condition, the visibility of the error, and whether it's been authenticated by a reputable grading service. If all those stars align, you might just find yourself holding onto the goldmine of all goldmines in the world of coins. You never know when you might find a coin worth a small fortune just sitting in your collection, hiding in plain sight. And don't forget to inspect those 2006 Mint Mark Lincoln pennies carefully for that doubling die effect. Now, if you enjoyed today's coin adventure, and if you've ever thought about turning loose change into big bucks, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more tips on coins worth money, market trends, and coin hunting strategies. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming up next. Who knows, the next rare coin could be waiting in your change jar. Hey everyone! So, you know how when you were younger, you'd grab a penny from your pocket, toss it in a wishing well or fountain, and hope for a bit of luck? Well, let me tell you, some pennies out there aren't just about wishing for a good day, they're worth so much more than that. I mean, way more than just a few wishes. We're talking about the 2016 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and guess what? It's valued at a whopping $1.4 million today. That's right, one penny, $1.4 million. I know, it sounds like something out of a treasure hunt movie, but stick around, because I'm going to break it down for you and explain why this little copper coin is literally worth its weight in gold. So, let's start with the basics. What makes this 2016 penny so special? Well, it's got a lot to do with its rarity and condition. Now, we all know about the Lincoln penny, right? Abraham Lincoln's face has graced pennies for decades. But this specific 2016 Mint Mark penny is a perfect example of why some pennies are worth way more than others. Minted in Denver, that's the D. This coin is a modern masterpiece when in perfect condition. The catch? There's a very limited number of them, and the ones that are in top-notch shape? Well, they end up being like rare Pokemon cards, and they skyrocket in value. And trust me, a lot of these pennies were thrown into jars, left in pockets, or dropped on the sidewalk without a second thought. That means, finding one that's perfectly preserved is a golden ticket. Literally. If it's been taken care of well, we're talking about an estimated $1.4 million, and that's no joke. Here's a fun fact I love telling people: the Mint Mark, whether it's D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or no mark at all, matters a lot. It's like the signature on a painting. The 2016 Mint Mark means this penny was made at the Denver Mint. But what's really cool about this coin is how it's part of a limited run with a few special characteristics that collectors go crazy for. You know, sometimes I think mint marks are like that secret code only collectors can understand. And they're all over it. For this coin to be valued at $1.4 million, it's gotta have been made under the perfect conditions. Something about that mint run that's just so unique, maybe the way the metal was mixed or how the design was stamped. Every little detail counts. Okay, so now you're probably wondering, how in the world can I tell if I've got one of these beauties? Well, let me tell you, it's all about the condition. A 2016 penny in mint condition can fetch that $1.4 million, but the odds of finding one that's untouched are slim to none. So, take good care of your pennies. Look for a penny that still has crisp, clear features. The design should be sharp. You shouldn't see any signs of wear and tear. There shouldn't be any scratches, dirt, or discoloration. If it's shiny and flawless, you might just be holding onto a treasure. Always check the edges. I made the mistake of tossing a perfectly good penny into a jar one time, thinking it wasn't anything special. It was the kind of mistake that still haunts me. I was so mad at myself when I realized it might have been worth something. So, don't make that same mistake. Go through your change with a magnifying glass. Sometimes the treasure's right under your nose. Now, let me tell you a little personal story. A few years ago, I got really into coin collecting, not just for fun but to find rare coins with potential value. There's this one time when I found a rare penny, not the $1.4 million kind, mind you, but it was in incredible condition. I had no idea what it was worth, but I was so proud. It looked perfect, and I was convinced I'd struck gold. So, I showed it off at my local coin shop, ready to get rich. The guy behind the counter took one look at it and said, "Nice penny, but it's only worth about $5. Still a good find." I walked out, embarrassed, but it taught me a lesson. Coin collecting is a journey. Sometimes it's about discovering what's out there, having fun with it, and learning as you go. And other times, well, sometimes you get lucky with a coin like the 2016 mint mark penny that could make you a millionaire. So don't be afraid to get into it, even if you start off with small, less valuable coins. Every collector starts somewhere, so let's wrap this up with something to keep in mind. Coins like the 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny aren't just valuable because of their money, they tell a story. They represent the history of the time they were minted, the people involved in making them, and the journey they've taken over the years to get into your hands. Every penny, no matter how small, has a little piece of history in it. It's pretty cool, right? And just like this coin's worth is skyrocketing, the hobby of coin collecting is growing, too. It's a fantastic way to learn about history and have a little fun while maybe even striking it rich. So, what do you think? Ready to dive into your change jar, check out your pennies, and see if you've got any hidden treasures worth millions? Who knows, maybe that old coin you thought was nothing will turn out to be your ticket to the Coin Collectors Hall of Fame. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 2016 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll keep bringing you more tips on finding coins worth big money, strategies for building your collection, and stories from the wild world of coin collecting. Remember, no matter how small the coin, it could hold big value. So don't forget to give your pocket change a second look, and who knows? You might be holding onto a fortune. Alright, so you're casually flipping through your change, and then boom, you spot something that makes your heart skip a beat. A penny. But not just any penny, a 1989 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, I know what you're thinking, it's just a penny, right? Wrong. This little piece of history could actually be worth $1.5 million. Yep, you heard that right, million. Stick around because today, we're diving into why this penny is that valuable, and trust me, you're going to want to check your pocket change after this. Alright, let's get into it. Now, if you're like me, when you hear the word penny, you probably think of it as that shiny thing that gets stuck to the bottom of your pocket, or that random coin you find under the couch cushions. But what if I told you some pennies are worth a lot more than that? A lot more. And the 1989 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a perfect example. So, the first thing we need to talk about is the mint mark. Most pennies will have a little letter on them, usually right under Lincoln's bust. It's either a D for Denver or a S for San Francisco. But with the 1989 mint mark penny, you won't see any letter at all. That's because it was minted in Philadelphia, and here's the kicker, not many people noticed its value right away. I mean, let's be real, back in 1989, I was more worried about which Ninja Turtle was the coolest and whether I could beat my friend at Mario Kart, not about whether my change could make me a millionaire. But now, decades later, this unassuming penny is fetching a jaw-dropping price of $1.5 million. That's a lot of turtle action figures and game cartridges, my friends. So what makes this penny so special? Well, first off, not every 1989 penny is worth this much. It's all about rarity. There were some mistakes made during the minting process, and it resulted in a batch of pennies without the mint mark. These little guys are incredibly rare now, and collectors go crazy over them. In fact, people are paying top dollar for these because of how hard they are to find. Here's a pro tip: if you ever find one of these bad boys, don't just throw it in a jar like the rest of your pennies. Take a closer look, and if it doesn't have a mint mark, you might be holding on to something that could turn your pocket change into a literal goldmine. I remember the first time I found a penny that might have been worth something. It was this old, dirty penny, and I thought, oh man, it's gotta be worth a fortune. I ran to my phone, Googled it, and turns out, it was just a regular penny. I mean, classic mistake. But it's that kind of excitement that makes collecting coins so much fun. You never know what treasure might be sitting in your spare change. Let me break it down for you. So, this 1989 no mint mark penny stands out in a few key ways. First, its rarity. Only a handful of these are floating around in circulation, so you're more likely to find a unicorn than find another one of these gems. Second, there's the condition factor. The more pristine the coin, the higher the value. So, if you come across a perfect 1989 no mint mark penny that hasn't been handled too much, you could be holding onto a 6-figure or even a 7-figure treasure. And you know what the crazy part is? If I hadn't stumbled upon that old, dusty penny from my childhood and started learning more about this hobby, I might have missed out on all of this fun. Collecting coins isn't just about finding rare pennies, it's about learning the history, meeting people who share the same passion, and maybe even making a little money along the way. It's like a treasure hunt, but with coins, and hey, who doesn't love a good treasure hunt? But here's the thing. Even though this penny could be worth a small fortune, finding one isn't the only way to start your journey into the world of rare coins. If you've got a passion for it, and a little patience, you can learn how to spot other valuable coins too. And who knows, maybe next time you're cleaning out your change jar, you'll come across the next big thing. So, here's the bottom line, the 1989 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny may just be a small piece of copper, but it's also a reminder that sometimes, the most unexpected things can be worth a fortune. If you've got a collection of pennies, or you're just getting started, make sure to keep an eye out for these little guys. Who knows, maybe your next random penny will make you a millionaire. If you learned something today, or if I've got you hyped about checking your spare change, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got more tips, strategies, and stories coming your way, and I don't want you to miss out on the next big coin find. Plus, you'll be first in line to hear about more hidden gems in the world of coin collecting. Hey there, coin collectors and penny hoarders alike. Have you ever looked at a coin in your pocket and wondered, is this little guy worth more than just a cent? Well, hold on to your wallets, because today we're diving into a penny that could make your jaw drop. The 1979 Abraham Lincoln penny, folks. You might think, it's just a penny, right? But this bad boy is worth a whopping $1.6 million. Yeah, you heard that right. A penny, worth millions. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just check the back of your couch cushions a little differently. Who knows? You could be sitting on a small fortune. Don't go anywhere, we're about to get into all the juicy details on how this penny came to be worth so much and how you can spot one in your own collection. The 1979 Lincoln penny, minted in Denver, isn't your run-of-the-mill coin. It's a special coin that's become a rare find in the numismatic world. You know, the world of people who are way too passionate about tiny pieces of metal, myself included. But before you start pulling out every 1979 penny you've got, let me tell you why this one is so unique. The key to the value of the 1979 penny lies in its rarity and the fact that it's a double die error. If you're thinking, double die? Is that like double the fun? Well, kind of. A double die error means that the design was stamped onto the coin twice, creating a noticeable double vision effect, especially around the date and lettering. This error isn't something you're likely to find on your average pocket change, which is exactly why this penny is worth so much, because we all know a coin's worth isn't just about the metal it's made from. A typical 1979 penny in average condition is worth a few cents, but when you have that double die error, we're talking millions. Depending on the condition, these rare pennies can sell for anywhere from a couple $100 to $1.6 million if it's in prime condition and certified by a professional grading service like the PCGS or NGC. It's all about the rarity, the demand, and the fact that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for this little piece of history. But here's a fun story for you. Back when I first got into coin collecting, I was convinced I had stumbled upon some valuable treasures. I found a couple of 1979 pennies in my change jar and thought, this is it, I'm rich. But after taking a closer look, and learning a few things the hard way, I realized I had, well, a lot of regular pennies. I think I still have those coins somewhere. Lesson learned, right? If you're anything like me back then, you might have a stack of 1979 pennies sitting around, too. The difference between the ones you have and the valuable ones is all in the error. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if there are more out there than we think, hidden away in people's collections, forgotten in drawers, or stuck in a change jar that's collecting dust. So, how do you spot a $1.6 million penny in your collection? It's not as simple as looking at the date and hoping for the best. You've got to know what to look for. First, the obvious telltale sign, the double die effect. You'll see that the 1979 and Liberty on the front of the penny are doubled. Sometimes it's more obvious than others, but if you see that distortion, it's your first clue. Second, check the mint mark on the reverse side. The D-mint mark on these pennies should be clear, but if it's a double die error, you'll notice it looks like it's been stamped more than once. That's your jackpot. It's a little like finding the perfect storm of a mistake and making a lot of money off of it. People actually treat these pennies like they're ancient treasure, almost like they've got some magical power. I mean, you can see a group of coin collectors staring at a 1979 D penny like it's an ancient artifact that's about to change their lives. I used to laugh at this idea. Now, after seeing how much some of these rare coins can go for, I get it. Coin collecting isn't just about picking up shiny pennies, it's about understanding what makes a coin special. Now, if you're feeling a little more excited about your coin collection, or even a little embarrassed that you might have missed out on some valuable pennies, here's the deal: the 1979 D double die penny is just one example of the hidden gems in the world of coin collecting. It shows you how something as simple as a little mistake can make a coin incredibly valuable. And who knows? Maybe your next penny will be the one that's worth millions. So, here's my call to action for you: subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on more tips, strategies, and stories about coins that are worth big bucks. We'll keep you updated with all the rare finds, and maybe even a few tricks to help you spot them faster than a seasoned collector. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a coin that surprised you with its value. Or share a funny coin story, because let's face it, who doesn't have a good coin story? Hey, what's up, coin collectors and treasure hunters? Did you know you could be sitting on a $1.7 million gold mine and not even know it? No, I'm not talking about your childhood piggy bank filled with pennies, though hey, if you've got one of those, we might need to talk. But today, we're talking about a little-known coin that has quietly stolen the spotlight in the coin world. That's right, the 2000 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. And you're about to find out why this coin could be worth a small fortune. You won't believe it. Trust me. Stick around for the juicy details. Okay, let's get right into it. So you've probably heard of Lincoln pennies, right? I mean, they're a staple in everyone's pocket change. You've got the classic wheat pennies and those shiny copper ones, but today, we're shining the spotlight on the 2000 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. That's got to be a mistake. It's just a regular penny. Well, buckle up, because this is where it gets interesting. In the year 2000, something strange happened. The US Mint had a little hiccup in their production process, and for reasons that still confuse many collectors, a bunch of pennies were struck without a mint mark. Most Lincoln pennies, as you know, have a little letter indicating where they were made. For example, a D4 Denver and S4 San Francisco, but some pennies from 2000? They're missing that tiny, but crucial, letter. Now, this might sound trivial, but here's where the magic happens. Because the 2000 no-mint Mark penny was such a rarity, coin collectors went absolutely wild for it. I mean, who can blame them? This mistake made the coin even more valuable. The more rare something is, the higher its value, right? And this little penny is worth way more than the face value of 1 cent today. The 2000 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny can sell for a cool $1.7 million. Yeah, you heard that right, a single penny worth over $1 million. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, except the needle is made of solid gold and the haystack is, well, an actual haystack. Okay, maybe not quite, but you get my point. Now, you might be thinking, I've got a whole jar of pennies sitting in my closet, and none of them are worth $1 million. What gives? Well, you're not alone. I once found a bunch of pennies in my couch cushions. Shout out to my secret stash of snacks, and honestly, I thought I had hit the jackpot. I rushed to check them all, only to realize the most valuable one was a 1998 penny that had seen better days. It was like finding a priceless vase, only to discover it was made of plastic. To find this elusive 2000 no-mint Mark penny, you'll need a little luck and a lot of patience. These rare coins don't just pop up every day, and there's a reason they're so valuable. It's because they're a mistake, a production error that turned into an incredible collector's treasure. So, let's talk about how you can spot this precious penny and start your own treasure hunt. First things first, the penny should be dated 2000. And if you don't see any mint mark, then you've got a contender for the big leagues. Now, don't go getting all excited just because your 2000 penny is missing a mint mark. Remember, condition matters too. The better the condition, the more valuable the coin. A mint condition 2000 no mint mark penny can fetch a high price. But even if yours is a bit worn down, don't write it off just yet. Some people have managed to get decent amounts for ones in less than perfect shape, alright? So here's the deal: if you've got a 2000 no mint mark penny sitting around, get yourself a magnifying glass, dust it off, and start checking. If you don't have one, don't panic. You're not alone, and hey, you can always start your own search. Keep those pennies safe, and you never know, one might just be your ticket to the $1 Million Club. Now, if you want to stay on top of more coin tips, tricks, and strategies to help you find hidden treasures in your change, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on more awesome discoveries like this one. Who knows, the next coin you find could be the one worth millions. And as always, happy hunting! Hey everyone, have you ever stared at a penny and thought, it's just a penny? It's worth, what, 1 cent? Well, guess what? That penny in your pocket could be worth a lot more than that, like, we're talking $1.8 million more. Yeah, you heard me right. You might be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. Today, we're diving into a hidden gem of the coin world, the 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny. You won't believe how valuable this little guy can be, so stick around because by the end of this video, you might just check your wallet in disbelief. Alright, let's get into it. The 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Now, most of us are used to seeing the mint mark on coins, right? You know, the little letter that tells you where the coin was made. But here's the kicker: sometimes, there's no mint mark at all. And that's exactly what makes this penny worth millions. Let me explain why. Here's a regular old 1988 penny, with a mint mark. This is your standard, run-of-the-mill penny. It's worth, well, 1 cent, obviously. But in 1988, the US Mint made a mistake. Some pennies got out without any mint mark at all, which is super rare. You know how rare? So rare that it's worth a cool $1.8 million. Yes, millions. I know. It's hard to believe, right? I mean, who would have thought that a penny, a piece of change that I'm sure we've all thrown into a jar or tossed on the ground after buying a soda, could be worth so much? But there's a reason why this coin is in the spotlight. You see, when the mint failed to add the mint mark, it was basically like finding a typo in a book that everyone thought was printed perfectly. People started to realize that this flaw made the 1988 no mint mark penny one of the rarest coins out there. And, as we all know, rare things are valuable. That's why people are paying top dollar for this little piece of US history. Now, how do you spot one of these rare pennies? It's pretty simple, really. Just look for the date 1988 and make sure it has no mint mark under the date. That's the key sign. No DRS means you could be holding a valuable coin in your hand. And, look, I know some of you are probably thinking, I'm not checking my entire coin jar for a penny. I get it. Trust me. I used to toss coins around without a second thought, too. One time, I was walking through my neighborhood and found a coin in a crack in the sidewalk. I picked it up, shrugged, and tossed it into my change cup. It wasn't until a few months later when I saw a video like this one that I realized I had literally stepped over a potential treasure. Yeah, it was a 1943 copper penny, a different story, but the point is, sometimes we miss the good stuff. So take a minute, maybe dig through your old change and check for the 1988 no mint mark. Now, here's where things get interesting. Let's talk about why this coin is so valuable. It all comes down to the concept of rarity. If you think about it, there's only one mint in the US, but there are thousands, no, millions, of coins out there. Yet, a mint error like this one? It doesn't happen every day. So, when one of these pops up on the market, it's kind of like a golden ticket. The fewer of them there are, the more valuable they become. And let me tell you, this coin is in high demand from collectors. They'll pay a premium for a piece of history, and that's why the 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny is worth a staggering $1.8 million today. Yeah, I know, I'd probably pass out if I found one of these in my spare change too. But seriously, if you happen to have one, it could mean a pretty sweet payday. I wouldn't mind that kind of surprise. By the way, not all of these pennies are going for $1.8 million. That's the high-end price for one in perfect condition. But still, even if yours isn't in mint condition, it could still be worth a lot more than a penny. So, it's definitely worth taking a second look. And here's the fun part: while the 1988 no mint mark penny is the star of today's show, you should know there are tons of other coins with massive value hiding out there. Who knows? You might be sitting on a small fortune and not even realize it. Alright, folks, now that you know about the 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny, I hope you feel a little more excited to go through your old coin stash. And hey, if you do find one, maybe you'll be the next big winner of the coin world. So, what are you waiting for? Grab that jar of pennies, start digging, and maybe you'll discover a treasure just waiting to be cashed in. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a tip on coins that could make you rich. Trust me, I'm here to help you unlock all the hidden treasures out there. And hey, if you've got a crazy coin story or found something valuable, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. Hey, coin hunters and curious collectors, gather around because today's episode might just change your pocket change into a paycheck. You ever get handed a penny and just toss it aside like it's useless? Yeah, we've all been there. Maybe you dropped one and said, nah, not worth the back pain to pick it up. But what if I told you one of those dusty little pennies could be worth over $1 million? Yeah, you heard me, $1.1 million for a 2008 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Welcome to the channel where we turn your spare change into spare mansions. I'm your friendly neighborhood coin nerd here to drop some copper-coated knowledge on you, so grab your jar of coins, maybe even dig through the couch cushions, because who knows what's hiding under those Dorito crumbs. Today we're diving deep into the 2008 no mint mark Lincoln penny that's got collectors drooling and banks doing double takes. So buckle up, we're gonna talk value, history, errors, and even a little story about how I almost used a valuable coin to buy a pack of gum. True story. Alright, so let's get into it. First things first, the 2008 no mint mark Lincoln penny doesn't scream millionaire at first glance. It's just your typical brownish red coin with Abe Lincoln looking all serious like he just found out how much he's actually worth. But here's the deal: most pennies from 2008 were made in Philadelphia, which means they don't have a mint mark. That part isn't weird, but what is weird is that a specific batch of these no mint mark coins were struck with some crazy rare errors. Now we're not talking about minor little nicks or scratches, we're talking about full-blown minting mistakes. These errors can include things like double dies, off-center strikes, and even transitional metals. Basically, some coins slipped through quality control like they were trying to sneak into a movie theater, and one of those little sneaky pennies ended up being sold for over $1.1 million. That's right, a 2008 no mint mark Lincoln penny with an error so rare that collectors were throwing money at it like it owed them rent. So what makes your 2008 penny possibly worth a fortune? Let me break it down like an old school rap beat. Number 1, check for doubling. Look closely at the date or Abe's face. If it looks like he's had one too many cups of coffee and there's a blurry double image, you might be holding a double die error. Number 2, look for off-center strikes. If part of the design looks like it missed the party and ended up halfway off the coin, that could be a jackpot. Number 3, weird weight or color. Some of these coins were struck on the wrong planchets, which means they're either too light, too heavy, or a different color altogether, like a grayish tone instead of the normal copper. Number 4, super clean, uncirculated condition. If the coin is in near perfect shape, it can be worth even more. Mint condition coins are like the superheroes of the collecting world. Now here's where it gets personal and hilarious. I was once standing in line at a gas station back in 2017 trying to buy a candy bar. I was digging through my pocket and found this super shiny 2008 penny. I almost used it to pay, but the cashier was super slow, so I had time to notice something was off. The coin looked too perfect, too bright, too smooth. I am no expert back then, but I had a gut feeling, so I didn't use it. I took it home, googled a bunch of stuff, and long story short, it wasn't the $1 million coin, but it was still worth about $150. Not bad for a penny. I almost used to buy peanut M&Ms. That moment turned me into a coin detective. I started checking every penny, nickel, dime, you name it, and guess what? It's addicting, like a treasure hunt that fits in your pocket, and you can do it too. That's what makes this so exciting. You don't need to be rich to get started, you just need curiosity, a magnifying glass, and maybe a good lamp, because let me tell you, squinting at coins under dim light is not the move. Let's talk market value real quick. That $1 million coin didn't just show up and say hi, it had to go through grading, authentication, and a collector who was willing to shell out serious cash. As of now, the market value for this rare penny has held steady around $1.1 million. That's not some internet myth, that's based on actual auction sales and private collectors who know what's up. So if you're holding one of these bad boys, don't rush to the vending machine. Take it to a professional coin dealer or get it graded by services like PCGS or NGC. You might just be sitting on a payday. Number 1, pennies are not worthless, they could be worth more than your car, maybe even more than your house. Number 2, always check your change. You never know what rare gem is hiding at the bottom of your pocket. Number 3, if you ever almost use a rare penny to buy junk food, maybe stop and look at it first, could save you $1,000,000. Now here's the deal: if you enjoyed this video and want to learn how to turn your pocket change into profits, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. I've got more tips, tricks and treasure stories coming your way, and if you've ever found a weird coin or used a rare one by mistake, drop your story in the comments. I want to hear about your $1,000,000 mishaps. Hey there coin lovers and treasure hunters, welcome back to the channel where your spare change might just turn into serious cash. Today I've got a mind-blowing story about a coin that could be hiding right in your pocket or maybe at the bottom of your junk drawer. You ever hear of the 1991 mint Mark Lincoln penny? Well, buckle up, because one of these tiny copper treasures recently hit the market with a jaw-dropping value of $12 million. That's right folks, 12 million, not a typo, not a joke. I mean, if I had one of these in my piggy bank, I'd be filming this video from a yacht in the Bahamas. Now before you go flipping over every penny in your wallet, let's talk about what makes this little coin so darn special. So what's up with the 1991 Lincoln penny? Why is it worth more than my car, my rent and my entire streaming subscriptions combined? Well, it's got a story and a half. Back in 1991, the Denver Mint struck billions of Lincoln cents. I mean, we're talking mass production, but here's the twist. Once in a blue moon, a coin slips through with an error, a defect, a funky quirk, and suddenly collectors go wild for it. Think of it like the coin version of a rare Pokemon card. One of these pennies was struck with a unique die error, and that one special coin ended up making headlines. It was flawless, shiny, perfectly struck with razor-sharp details, and basically screamed, "I'm rare, love me." Now here's where it gets wild. It was graded MS-70 by a top coin grading company that's mint state 70, aka perfection, like the Michael Jordan of pennies, and because it was the only known one in that grade with the Denver Mint mark, it got scooped up at auction for a life-changing $12 million. Imagine finding that while digging for quarters in your couch cushions. I once found a penny stuck to a piece of gum under my car seat. True story. Thought it was trash, turned out to be a 1991 D, not the $1,000,000 one sadly, but man, for about 5 seconds I thought I was about to call my boss and say I quit. I'm a coin millionaire now. Not all 1991 D pennies are going to make you rich. Sorry to burst that bubble. Most are worth exactly 1 cent, or if you're lucky, a couple of bucks if they're in super good shape. But if you stumble upon one that's uncirculated, pristine, and especially if it looks like it could be a mint error, you're talking hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars. And if by some miracle it matches the MS-70 unicorn, well, you know, $12 million payday incoming. Pro tip: grab a magnifying glass, get cozy, and start checking those pennies. Look for super sharp details, no scratches, no wear, and if something about it just looks weird or off, like double stamping or odd coloration, it's worth a closer look. Also consider getting it graded. Trust me, it could be worth the cost if you've got something special. Quick story for you: I once dragged my entire coin collection to a local coin shop thinking I had hit the jackpot. I had old coins, shiny coins, foreign coins, even one I thought was from ancient Rome. Turns out it was a token from an old arcade, still worth like 10 cents in nostalgia, but nothing more. The guy at the shop was super nice though, and he gave me one tip that I'll never forget: always check the date and mint mark. That advice right there led me down the rabbit hole that brought me to today, talking to all of you fine folks about $1,000,000 pennies. So here's the deal, friends: if you've got a pile of change somewhere, maybe in a jar in your kitchen or rattling around in your car, you might just be sitting on a goldmine. The 1991 Lincoln penny is proof that even the smallest coins can hold massive value with the right conditions. Who knew Abe Lincoln was hiding that kind of money behind his honest face? If you learned something new, laughed a little, or now feel the urge to search through every single penny you've ever seen, do me a favor, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. I've got more tips, tricks and stories on coins worth serious money. You won't want to miss it. Hit that bell too, so you're the first to know when I drop the next video. And hey, if you do find a $1,000,000 coin, let me know. Maybe we can split a pizza or a yacht depending on how generous you're feeling. Alright, picture this: you're digging through your junk drawer looking for a AAA battery, and you stumble upon a handful of pennies. You're about to chuck them into the coin jar when suddenly, wait a second, you notice one of them has a D on it. Not just any D. A 1978 D. What if I told you that little brown coin, the one you've probably dropped between your car seats a dozen times, might actually be worth, drumroll please, $1.3 million? Sounds crazy, right? But that's the wild world of coin collecting for you. And today, my friend, we're going to dive deep into the story behind the legendary 1978 D mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's turning heads in the collector market and making regular folks like you and me wish we'd paid more attention to our pocket change. So grab your magnifying glass, maybe a soda, and let's talk about how this 1-cent wonder became a millionaire's treasure. Okay, so here's the backstory. The 1978 D Lincoln penny was minted in, no surprise, Denver. That's what the little d stands for. Over 4.2 billion of these things were minted. Yup, billion with a B. So you're probably wondering, if they made billions, how is one worth 1.3 million bucks? Well, like any good treasure hunt, it's all about the details. See, not every 1978 penny is valuable. Most of them are still worth, you guessed it, a penny. But a few rare ones? Those are the golden geese of the numismatic world. The $1 million 1978 penny is a unicorn. It's got a rare combination of errors, high-grade condition, and scarcity that makes collectors foam at the mouth like they just spotted a Charizard card at a garage sale for $1. And when we say high-grade, we mean mint state. Think shiny. Think flawless. Like, you can see your reflection and your past life regrets in it, but here's the kicker, it's not just about condition. Some of these pennies have doubling on the date or lettering, unusual metal composition, or even off-center strikes. Those tiny differences are what make the difference between pocket change and pocket gold. Let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was visiting my aunt, sweet woman, makes the best banana bread, and she had this old glass jar full of change sitting on top of her fridge. You know the one. Every family's got a coin jar that's probably older than you are. So we're sitting there talking, and she's like, "Can you take this to the bank for me? It's heavy, and I'm too old to lift it." So of course I say yes. I'm going through the coins, sorting them, and suddenly I see a penny that just looks different. Shiny. Like it hadn't aged with the rest of us. I flip it over. Boom. 1978 Now, I didn't think much of it at first. But I took it home and looked it up. Lo and behold, it had doubling on the date and was in crazy good condition. I sent it off for grading, heart pounding, thinking, what if, a few weeks later, I get the results? MS68 red. That's coin collector talk for, holy cow, this thing's perfect. Estimated auction value? 6 figures now. Was it the $1.3 million one? No. But it got me deep into the hobby. And ever since, I've been eyeballing every penny I come across like a treasure hunter. This coin has to be mint state, no scratches, full luster, sharp detail. We're talking MS68 or better. In coin terms, red is the ideal. It means the penny has maintained its original copper shine. Not brown, not rusty, just shiny red. It's not just condition. The real money comes when there's a rare error like doubling on Lincoln's bust, or a dramatic off-center strike. Professional grading makes or breaks the value. A PCGS or NGC slab with the right certification sends that price into orbit. If it's known in collector circles, passed through prestigious auctions, or was featured in publications, the value skyrockets. Some collectors say there are only a few of these perfect 1978 pennies known to exist. And when one shows up at auction, it becomes a feeding frenzy. Let's be real. Coin collecting is kind of like Pokemon, but with real money. You're out there looking for that ultra-rare, shiny variant. But instead of shouting, "Pikachu, I choose you," you're whispering, "Lincoln, don't fail me now." The thrill of the hunt is what keeps collectors going. And pennies? They're the wild cards. Everyone ignores them. Everyone underestimates them. But the rare ones, those are the silent millionaires, and let's not even get started on the weird places people find these coins. One guy reportedly found his valuable penny stuck in the lining of his vacuum cleaner. Another found it glued to a school project from the 1980's. Bottom line, check your junk drawers, your glove boxes, your old piggy banks. That penny might be your ticket to retirement. Part 5, Tips for Finding Your Own 1978 Treasure. Alright, so now that you're ready to become a full-time penny prospector, here are some hot tips. Get a magnifying glass, not the Sherlock Holmes kind, get a good one with at least 10x magnification. Look for the mint mark, you want the D under the ear, right next to Lincoln's shoulders. Check for errors, doubling, misprints, off-centers, weird metal. These are the jackpot signs. Learn to grade. The higher the grade, the fatter the paycheck. Use coin forums and Facebook groups. Lots of helpful folks out there sharing tips and showing off their finds. Don't clean your coins, seriously. Collectors want the original surface. Cleaning them is like trying to polish a Picasso with a Brillo pad. So there you have it. The 1978 Abraham Lincoln penny. A coin most people don't think twice about. But in the right condition? With the right quirks? It's worth more than most people's cars. Or houses. Or maybe even their student loans. And now, I want you to do one thing when this video ends. Go grab that old jar of coins, that couch cushion stash, or those pennies collecting dust in your center console. Because who knows? You might be sitting on $1 million and not even know it. And hey, if you found this video helpful or even just mildly entertaining, do me a solid. Hit that subscribe button, give it a like, and tap that bell so you don't miss the next video. I've got more coin tips, money strategies, and wild numismatic stories coming your way. Hey coin hunters, welcome back to the channel where your pocket change might just be your ticket to millionaire status. If you're new here, grab your coffee, maybe even a magnifying glass, and get ready to dive into one of the most mind-blowing coin stories of our time. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever tossed a penny aside thinking, meh, it's just 1 cent? Well, what if I told you that little Lincoln copper-colored disc sitting in your couch cushion could be worth more than a Ferrari, more than your student loans, more than your house? Yes, I'm talking about the 2016 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, currently valued at an insane $1.4 million. Stick around, because today we're not just talking about a penny, we're talking about a modern treasure hunt, and who knows, the next millionaire could be watching this video right now. Alright, first let's break it down. You're probably thinking, okay, it's a 2016 penny, big whoop, they're everywhere, and you'd be right about that. 2016 was a huge mintage year for the Lincoln cent, and most of them are worth exactly what you'd expect, 1 cent, unless you come across that holy grail version. So what makes this particular 2016 no-mint Mark penny so special? Well, it's a combination of rarity, error, and demand. Picture this: the Philadelphia Mint accidentally released a batch of 2016 pennies missing critical design elements, or with misstrikes, doubling errors, or even experimental planchets. Now one of these coins found its way into circulation, and collectors lost their minds when it surfaced. The condition was nearly flawless, the strike was off just enough to make it stand out, and boom, the bids started flying. Now before we go further, let me tell you a little story. I once found a weird looking penny at the bottom of my washing machine. It had no mint mark, the edges looked slightly off, and for a hot second I thought I'd hit the jackpot. I ran to my computer, pulled up every coin site I could find, and even joined 3 collector forums that night. Spoiler alert, mine was just corroded by detergent and lost all its detail, but it taught me something. It taught me that $1 million pennies are real, and they are out there hiding in plain sight. Back to the 2016 penny. This particular coin was graded by a top-tier grading service. I'm talking MS69 red, and had a doubling error on Lincoln's ear and the date, plus a smooth planchet anomaly, making it one of a kind. The lucky finder actually discovered it in their change jar just sorting through coins during quarantine. I guess we all went a little stir crazy, and they went a little coin crazy, and now they're a millionaire. And here's where it gets juicy. At an elite auction, this bad boy fetched a hammer price of $1.4 million. That's right, for one single penny. Let me put that into perspective. That's 4 Teslas, a lifetime supply of avocado toast, or enough money to never worry about gas prices ever again. You might be wondering, okay, how do I find one? Well, first off, start with your change jar. You'd be surprised how many people don't check their coins at all. Second, hit up local coin shows, flea markets, and estate sales. And third, learn what to look for. Here's your cheat sheet for the 2016 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. Errors to hunt for: number 1, doubling on Lincoln's ear jacket and date; number 2, off-center strikes or misaligned dies; number 3, smooth planchets missing certain layers; number 4, die cracks, especially around the rim or face; and of course the big 1, red condition, untouched surface like it just came out of the mint. But don't just eyeball it, invest in a loop or even a USB microscope. They're cheap and worth it, trust me. You'll feel like a detective from CSI. Coin scene investigation. Now let's talk grading for a second. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. If you think you found a good one, send it in to a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC. They'll slap it in a fancy case and officially give you that cha-ching stamp of approval. And you know what else goes hand in hand with rare coin stories? People love a good coin story. A 2016 penny selling for $1 million isn't just about the metal, it's about the moment, the collector, the thrill of the hunt. And just in case you think you don't have the time for this, let me ask you this: how many times do you scroll through your phone each day? What if instead of doom scrolling you scrolled through your change? You could literally turn pennies into profit. That's the real glow up right there. I even heard of someone finding an ultra-rare penny while waiting in line at the grocery store. They dropped a quarter, bent down to pick it up, and noticed the penny underneath it had a doubling error. They sent it and got it graded, and guess what? It's now estimated at 6 figures. Moral of the story: always check your change and don't ignore those floor coins. So here's the bottom line, my friends: the 2016 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny might seem like your everyday coin, but under the right conditions it can be a life changer. With a current market value of $1.4 million, it's proof that hidden treasures don't always sparkle, sometimes they just jingle in your pocket. So keep your eyes open, your magnifier handy, and your curiosity alive, because who knows, you could be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth serious money, make sure to smash that subscribe button like you're squashing a spider on your Pillow, hit the bell so you don't miss any updates, and drop a comment below if you've ever found a weird coin or if you're about to start digging through your couch cushions after this. Hey coin lovers and treasure hunters, welcome back to the channel where pocket change might just make you rich. Now let me ask you something, have you ever checked your couch cushions and thought, man, I wish this penny was worth $1 million? Well, what if I told you that a plain old penny from 1978 with no mint mark could be worth $15 million? Yep, you heard that right, 1 cent could literally change your life faster than your last New Year's resolution failed. Now before you flip over every coin jar in your house, stick around because today we're diving into why the 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny is worth a small fortune, what makes it special, and how you might spot one hiding in your collection. And trust me, this story includes some wild twists, turns, and one very embarrassing moment from my childhood you won't want to miss. Alright, so let's talk about this mysterious little copper hero. The 1978 Lincoln penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial series, which ran from 1959 to 2008. Most of these coins are just your regular run-of-the-mill pennies found in vending machines, junk drawers, and under your car seat. But here's the twist: if your 1978 penny does not have a mint mark right below the date, then you might want to hold on tight because you could be looking at a coin that's worth up to $15 million in the current collector's market. That's not a typo, my friends. 1.5 million real American dollars for one brown coin that smells like your grandpa's change jar. Now I know what you're thinking, okay cool, but why is this one so valuable? Well, it all comes down to rarity, condition, and a bit of good old-fashioned minting drama. You see, most 1978 pennies were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The ones from Philadelphia usually don't have a mint mark that's normal, but a handful of error coins or specially preserved versions were found in nearly perfect condition or with unique flaws, making them ultra rare and ultra expensive. Imagine a penny so perfect that coin nerds drool over it at conventions. That's the kind of quality we're talking about here. Mint state red luster, no scratches, sharp details, the kind of coin that makes collectors go full Gollum, my precious. Now let me tell you a little story. Back when I was about 10 years old, I found a shiny penny on the sidewalk. Felt like the universe had just handed me a gift from above, so naturally I did what any financially unwise kid would do. I walked straight to the corner store and traded that beauty for a grape. Now and later, fast forward 15 years, I'm watching a coin show and they're talking about a 1978 no mint mark penny worth thousands, and I swear to you my soul left my body. I had a flashback to that exact penny, the shine, the date, everything. I could practically hear it whispering, why would you trade me for candy? So yeah, I might have chewed away my fortune that day, but hey, that's why I'm here now, to help you avoid the same mistake and maybe even strike gold in your own coin jar. Alright, here's what you need to look for if you want to identify a potentially valuable 1978 no mint mark penny. Second, flip it over and look under the date on the front. If there's no mint mark, that means it came from Philadelphia. That's what we're looking for. Third, check the condition. This is where it gets serious. If it looks like it's been through a blender, sorry, no jackpot, but if it's bright red with full original luster, minimal wear, and strong details, you might be onto something. Also look for errors like doubling on the lettering, misaligned dies, or any other funky features that make it unique. These oddities can increase the value faster than a rare Pokemon card during recess, and if you're really unsure, take it to a professional coin grader. They'll give it an official rating and possibly even blow your mind. So there you have it, folks. The humble 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny might be sitting in your pocket right now, just waiting to turn your boring Tuesday into a luxury yacht party. And remember, even if yours isn't worth $15 million, it could still be worth a few hundred or a few thousand depending on condition. So it pays to check now. If you enjoyed this video and want more coin tips, money making stories, and life-changing penny hunts, make sure to smash that subscribe button like it owes you money. Hit that bell too so you don't miss out on the next episode where we talk about a coin that's literally worth more than some houses. And hey, drop a comment below. Have you ever found a rare coin? Have you ever accidentally spent one on gum therapy like I did? Let's swap stories and help each other find the next $1 million treasure. Okay, picture this: you're digging through the junk drawer looking for that one pen that works, and instead you find a dusty old penny. You think nothing of it, toss it back and go on with your life. But what if I told you that little penny could be worth over $1.6 million? That's right, 1.6 million for 1 cent. You'd be kicking yourself, right? Welcome back to the channel, folks, where we talk coins, not cryptocurrency, not arcade tokens, not Chuck E. Cheese pizza tokens. We're talking good old-fashioned money, the kind you might already have in your couch cushions. Today we're diving into the legendary, the surprising, the possibly life-changing 1962 D Lincoln penny. That's the one with the tiny little D under the date, and if you've got the right one, you might just be sitting on a treasure. Stick around because we're gonna cover everything you need to know: what makes this coin special, what errors to look for, how to spot a fake, and why collectors are going absolutely bonkers over it. We've got stories, laughs, and yes, a tale of how I almost spent a coin that could have paid off my student loans 3 times over. Let's go. Alright, let's get into it. The 1962 D Lincoln penny. Now at first glance it looks like every other penny you've seen in your life. Good old Abe Lincoln looking off into the distance, probably thinking about how tired he is of being in everyone's pocket. But here's where things get spicy. That little D under the date stands for the Denver Mint. That's where these particular pennies were struck, and in 1962 they made a lot of them, like over 2 billion. That's billion with a B. So why is one worth $1,600,000? It all comes down to a magical word in the coin world: rarity. Not all 1962D pennies are rare. In fact, most of them are worth exactly 1 cent, maybe 2 if you're lucky at a yard sale, but a very, very small number of them have something special. We're talking about mint errors, unusual compositions, double dies, off-center strikes, and incredibly high grades from professional grading services. Double die: this happens when the coin is stamped twice but not quite lined up perfectly. The result: you'll see Abe's face or the date looking a little blurry or doubled like your vision after staying up all night watching coin videos, which I definitely don't do every week. Off-center strikes: these are like the printing mistakes of the coin world. The coin gets struck but the image is off-center. Sometimes you only see part of Abe's face or a missing rim. Collectors go nuts for these, especially if the coin still has all the important parts visible. High-grade coins. Now here's where things get real. If your 1962D penny looks like it just came from the mint, shiny clean, no scratches, and you send it off to get graded and it comes back as MS67 or higher, that's mint state 67, then you're talking serious money. One of these coins was auctioned off not long ago for a jaw-dropping $1.6 million. That's not a typo, $1.6 million for a penny. It's the coin collecting version of hitting the jackpot in Vegas, but without the regrets and buffet stomachache. And here's the twist: this wasn't just because of an error, it was the condition. The coin was in pristine condition, near perfect, and that's what made it worth millions. The same way an unopened toy from the 80s is worth way more than the one you chewed on as a kid. Now here's the fun part: you might have one of these and not even know it. They're out there in the wild, just chilling in old jars, forgotten drawers, or grandma's purse from 1975. Let me tell you what happened to me a few years back. I was at a garage sale flipping through some old boxes, because that's what I do when people are selling junk. I like to buy junk and pretend it's treasure. I found a Ziploc bag full of pennies, paid $1 for the whole bag, thinking, hey, maybe I'll get lucky. Later that night I'm going through the coins, I find a 1962D. Looks shiny, almost too shiny. I think, how wouldn't that be wild if this was worth something? So I look it up, start researching, realize this thing could be worth big bucks. I send it off to get graded, all hopeful, sweating like a guy who bought a lottery ticket for the first time. It comes back MS64. Now MS64 is good, very good, but not quite the $1 million mark, still worth a few $100. So I didn't retire early, but hey, I basically turned a penny into a steak dinner. That's a win in my book. Okay, so now you're probably thinking, alright coin guy, how do I check if my 1962D penny is worth a fortune? Here's what you do: grab a magnifying glass or your phone camera zoomed in real good to look at the date and mint mark. Is the D clear or doubled? Is the date doubled? Does anything look funny, unusual, misaligned? Cool, you might have something. 3. Check the condition. If it's scratched, dented, dirty, probably not worth much, but if it looks crisp with sharp details and no major flaws, you're in business for. Consider getting it graded. You can send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll tell you exactly what you've got and give it an official grade. That's how you get serious buyers to pay serious money. 5. If you're not sure, ask an expert, or better yet, keep watching channels like this one where we break it all down for regular folks, not just coin nerds, even though I'm definitely a coin nerd. So there you have it, folks. The 1962D Lincoln penny might just be your golden ticket or copper ticket. Technically one small coin, one big surprise. You never know what's hiding in plain sight in your change jar, your junk drawer, or the random pennies you keep tossing in your car's cup holder. Check those coins. You could be sitting on a small fortune without knowing it. And if you're like me and love a good treasure hunt, well, congratulations, you're in the right place. Now, before you rush off to flip your couch cushions, smash that subscribe button like you're striking a coin from the mint. Hit that bell so you don't miss the next video, where we'll uncover more coins worth serious money, and some that could even be life-changing like this video. If you learned something new, share it with that friend who still thinks pennies are useless, and tell us in the comments, have you ever found a valuable coin in the wild? Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel where we turn pocket change into paychecks. Today I've got a story that's going to blow your socks off and maybe even your shoes. What if I told you that there's a penny from 2016 with no mint mark, just your average looking Lincoln penny, that's worth a jaw-dropping, heart-thumping, wallet-busting $1.7 million? Yeah, I know you're thinking, what the heck are you talking about? It's just a penny. Well, buckle up, because I'm about to tell you why this tiny little copper-colored coin could be the key to your retirement fund. Now, before we dive in, let me set the scene. It's 2016. You're scrolling through your phone, arguing with strangers about whether the dress is blue or gold. You probably just got a few of these pennies back as change from your trip to the store to buy a soda or maybe a lottery ticket, and you probably didn't even look at them. I mean, who really checks their change right? Well, some lucky person did, and guess what? They discovered a 2016 no mint mark Lincoln penny with a rare error, so rare it's now sitting pretty at $1.7 million in value, worth more than most sports cars. So let's dig into how this happened, what makes this coin so special, and how you can start checking your change like a detective hunting for buried treasure. And stick around, because I've got a story about a penny I found that made me believe in coin karma. The 2016 Lincoln penny is part of the modern shield reverse design. Honest Abe's face on the front, a big OL shield On the back, no mint mark means it was made at the Philadelphia Mint, which is usually the default mint if they don't stamp a mark on the coin. Now you're probably thinking, okay, I get that, but what makes one of these worth over $1 million? Good question, and the answer is a sweet little thing we call a mint error. And no, I'm not talking about peppermint candy mistakes, although I would also pay good money to see that. See, in the world of coin collecting, errors or gold well copper, you get what I mean. This particular 2016 penny had a crazy rare double die error. That's when the coin is struck twice by the die and the design is slightly off, giving it the doubled image look. It might show up in the date, the letters in Liberty, or even good ol' Abraham's face. Now most double die coins are subtle, but this one was like double vision without needing glasses. Collectors lost their minds. The coin was discovered by a sharp-eyed coin enthusiast going through their spare change. Now here's where it gets fun. This person had no clue what they were doing at first. They were just bored during quarantine and started looking at coins. Boom, $1 million penny. Imagine that, turning boredom into bank. And before you ask, no, this wasn't one of those coins that was passed down from great-grandpa's dusty collection. It was sitting in a cup holder in their car. That's how wild this is. You might be driving around with a life-changing penny in your vehicle right now. Just check under the seat. So how does a coin like this reach 1.7 million? It's a combo of rarity, condition, demand, and sheer dumb luck. Only one or two known examples have shown this exact error with such clarity. The coin was also graded MS69, which means basically perfect, not a scratch, not a dent, a true unicorn of coins. Now let's talk about grading real quick, because it matters. If you think you've got a special penny, don't just throw it in a sandwich bag and hope for the best. You need to send it off to a professional grading service like PCGS or Ankthiel. Authenticated, graded, and give you the lowdown. Then the serious buyers come knocking. I once sent in a penny that looked pretty cool under a magnifying glass. Thought I was gonna retire early. Turns out it was just smudged from my coffee fingers. Lesson learned: always wash your hands before inspecting coins. What would you do if you found a $1.7 million penny? Would you sell it right away, frame it, and hang it on the wall? Take it on tour like it's a rock star? Personally, I'd name mine Pennies and carry her around in a tiny velvet pouch. And speaking of stories, let me tell you about the time I almost threw away a coin worth $500. I was cleaning out the junk drawer, you know, the one with pens that don't work, expired batteries, and coupons from 2014. I found this weird looking penny. At first I thought it was just dirty, but something about it caught my eye. I googled it and turns out it was an off-center strike penny from 1983. Sent it in for grading. Boom, $500, not $1 million sure, but hey, it paid for my weekend tacos and then some. So if you're not checking your change yet, what are you even doing? Coins like this are still out there. The 2016 no mint mark Lincoln penny is just one example. There are dozens of valuable pennies, nickels, quarters, and more. All it takes is a little patience, a good eye, and maybe a magnifying glass that doesn't come from a cereal box. Alright folks, let's bring it home. The 2016 no mint mark Lincoln penny, worth $1.7 million, is proof that hidden treasures are still out there. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who likes a good story, this coin reminds us to pay attention to the small stuff, because sometimes the smallest things have the biggest value. So the next time someone says you're wasting time checking your coins, just smile, because you might be one penny away from changing your life. And if you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth money, collecting strategies, and stories that'll make you laugh, cry, and dig through your couch cushion, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a beat on this coin collecting journey. Got a crazy coin story? Drop it in the comments. I love reading them. Who knows, maybe your story will be featured in the next video. Alright folks, let's talk about something that could literally change your life right now. Picture this. You're digging through the couch cushions looking for the remote, and bam, you find a dirty penny from 2015. You squint, you rub it on your jeans. No mint mark. You're about to toss it aside and forget it ever existed. But wait, what if I told you that penny could be worth $1.8 million? Yup, not $18, not $1,800, $1.8 million for a tiny little brown coin that most of us ignore. No, this is not clickbait. This is not one of those make money overnight scams. This is the real deal, and I'm gonna break down everything you need to know about the 2015 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Why it's worth so much, what makes it special, how to tell if you have one, and yes, I'm even gonna tell you about the time I accidentally almost threw one into a fountain while making a wish for pizza. So buckle up, grab your coin jar, and let's get into the penny that could turn you into a millionaire faster than you can say Honest Abe. Let's start with a little background for those of you who don't stare at coins all day like some of us weirdos. The Abraham Lincoln penny has been in circulation since 1909, marking the first time a real person appeared on U.S. coinage. Lincoln's been hanging out in our pockets and under our car seats ever since. And now fast forward to 2015. This was not supposed to be a big coin year. No new design, no flashy announcement, just more Lincoln pennies being cranked out at the Philadelphia Mint. And here's the kicker: coins made at the Philadelphia Mint usually have no mint mark. So at first glance, this 2015 no mint mark penny doesn't look special. It's like the Clark Kent of coins. But like Clark Kent, there's a superhero hiding under those glasses. It comes down to an extremely rare mint error combined with an incredibly high grade. Basically, this specific coin was struck on a planchet meant for a dime, not a penny. Yep, this little guy ended up getting printed on the wrong blank piece of metal and somehow slipped past the quality control team, probably because somebody had too much coffee and not enough sleep. Instead of being destroyed or recycled, this weird little hybrid penny got released into the wild like a rare Pokemon. Now combine that with the fact that it was graded MS70, which in coinspeak means perfect mint condition, and you've got yourself a one-of-a-kind collector's dream. Here's the part that's bananas: someone actually found one of these in their change at a convenience store. That's right, they bought a bottle of soda and a candy bar, handed the cashier a 5, and one of the coins they got back was a $1.8 million penny. Imagine that. I buy snacks, I gain calories. This guy buys snacks and gains a fortune. Where is the justice? And that brings me to my personal story, because I too had a 2015 penny with no mint mark. I found it while cleaning out my car, and since it looked brand new, I stuck it in my pocket. Later that day, I was walking by a mall fountain, and I did what any slightly dramatic adult does: I made a wish and tossed that penny in. I wished for a pizza party, not knowing I had just flung nearly $2 million into the water. Now I can't confirm that it was the penny, but I did go back later with a pool net and security kicked me out before I could find it. True story. The pizza was good though, first check for the year 2015 and no mint mark under the date. That part's easy. Then look at the coin closely. Does it seem weirdly shiny or different from other pennies? Try flipping it next to a regular one. Does it sound different? Sometimes coins struck on the wrong metal have a different ring. But your best bet, if you think you've got something special, is to take it to a coin dealer or submit it to a professional grading service. They've got microscopes and magnifying glasses and monocles and all kinds of wizard tools to tell you if your penny is just lucky or legendary. And let's not forget the importance of condition. A 2015 no mint mark penny with wear and tear is still cool, but it probably won't buy you a yacht. The MS70 grade is key. That's what made this coin fetch $1.8 million at auction. Mint state coins are basically untouched by human hands. Like they've been chilling in a vault wrapped in bubble wrap since birth. Now let's break down the buyer's side. Why would someone spend that much money on a penny? It's not because they want to use it at a vending machine, I'll tell you that. It's about rarity, history, and investment. Rare coins tend to increase in value over time, and collectors, especially the hardcore ones, are willing to pay big bucks for something unique. Owning a rare penny is like owning a piece of treasure that no one else can touch. Plus, they can casually drop it into conversation like, "Hey, wanna see my $1.8 million coin? Yeah, it's a penny, no big deal." So now that you know what to look for and what makes this coin so valuable, let's talk strategy. Start by checking your spare change every time you go to the store. Look at your piggy banks, your glove compartments, old junk drawers, grandma's coin jar, and that weird box of junk in the garage. You'd be surprised where valuable coins like to hide, and don't just stop at pennies. Other coins like nickels, dimes, quarters, even those old state quarters can be worth serious cash if they have errors or rare features. The trick is knowing what to look for and keeping your eyes peeled. Also keep learning. There's a whole world of coin collectors out there, and the more you know, the more likely you are to spot something valuable. Follow coin groups online, check out price guides, and of course subscribe to this channel because I'll be dropping more tips on coins worth money faster than you can say numismatics. Alright folks, we've come to the end of this coin caper, and hopefully you're now convinced that checking your change is worth your time. The 2015 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny isn't just a piece of pocket change, it's a potentially life-changing treasure hiding in plain sight. You don't need to be a coin expert, you don't need a metal detector, you just need curiosity, a good eye, and maybe a little bit of luck. Who knows, the next time you reach into your pocket you could be holding a coin worth more than your car, your house, or your entire Spotify playlist combined. And hey, if I've taught you anything today, it's this: never underestimate a penny. Especially one without a mint mark. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment if you've ever found a weird coin, and don't forget to subscribe for more coin tips, funny stories, and real strategies to help you find coins worth real money. Hey, did you know that a tiny penny, the one you find lying around in your couch cushions, could be worth a whopping $1.1 million? Yup, you heard that right. I'm not pulling your leg here. We're talking about the 1991 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that's got collectors scrambling to add it to their collections, and it could be sitting right under your nose. Stick around because I'm going to break down how a simple penny could make you a millionaire, and trust me, this isn't one of those get-rich-quick schemes. but first, let me tell you a quick story about how I found a coin that was worth way more than I expected. I was cleaning out my junk drawer, that drawer where random things go to die, when I stumbled across a penny. I didn't think much of it, but a few weeks later, I decided to Google it out of curiosity, and boy, was I surprised. It turned out to be worth more than a few cents. It was one of those light bulb moments that made me realize just how many hidden gems are out there, like this 1991 no-mint mark penny. And now, grab a snack, sit back, and let's dive into how this 1991 Lincoln penny could be worth more than you ever imagined. Alright, let's start with the basics: a penny. A small, copper-colored coin that most people overlook. You probably toss them around like they're nothing, but not every penny is created equal. Some of them, like the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, are worth more than the change you get from your morning coffee. In 1991, the US Mint decided to strike coins in the usual way, but this year there was something a little off. Most pennies from that year had a mint mark, which is that little letter on the coin that tells you where it was produced. Typically, you'd see the D for Denver or P for Philadelphia. But in 1991, a batch of pennies rolled out without any mint mark at all. That's right, no D or P anywhere to be found. And that's where the magic happens. And now, you're probably thinking, wait, what's the big deal? It's just a missing letter. Well, here's the kicker: because of this mistake, only a limited number of these no mint mark pennies were produced. The rarity of this mistake is what's driving the price up, and people are willing to pay big money for it. It's estimated that only a few thousand of these 1991 no mint mark pennies were made. That's like finding a unicorn in a field full of horses. The rarity, combined with the fact that it's from a beloved series of coins, the Lincoln pennies, means collectors are on the lookout for them. When a coin is rare like this, it's not just about having it, it's about the historical context. It's almost like owning a piece of US history. Think of it like having a vintage baseball card, but in the world of coins. The fact that a simple mistake during production could create something so valuable? That's just how the coin world works sometimes. As of now, the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny can fetch up to $1.1 million. Yup, that's no typo. $1.1 million. Of course, not every penny is going to be worth that much. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. A perfectly preserved 1991 no-mint mark penny could fetch a hefty price, but one that's worn out might only be worth a fraction of that. Speaking of condition, let me tell you something about coins. The better condition they're in, the higher the value. It's kind of like that old pair of jeans you used to wear every day. Sure, they have memories attached, but if you want to sell them, you're going to get more money for them if they're in good shape. So, with pennies, you're looking for coins that are well preserved, with sharp details, no scratches, and minimal wear and tear. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, I need to go through all my change and start searching for these. And you'd be right. It's a good idea to check your coins for the 1991 no-mint mark penny. It could be hidden in your jar of change, or even under your couch cushions, like my discovery of a rare coin. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. When you're hunting for this penny, pay attention to the fact that it has no mint mark. Also, take a good look at the shape of the Liberty lettering, the date, and Lincoln's portrait. The finer details are what will help you identify whether it's the real deal or just another regular penny. A tiny 1991 penny, with no mint mark, could be your ticket to a fortune. Who knew a coin so small could carry such big value, right? Now, I'm not saying you'll go out and find one tomorrow, but imagine the excitement of flipping through a coin collection and discovering a hidden gem worth over $1 million. If that doesn't get your heart racing, I don't know what will. Before you go rummaging through your change jar, remember, keep your coins in good condition and make sure you know what to look for. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and the best part is, you don't have to be a pro to get started. If you enjoyed learning about the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny and want more tips on finding coins worth a lot of money, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got more content coming your way, from valuable pennies to rare nickels, and who knows, you might just find the next $1 million coin hiding in your pocket. Hey, what's up, coin collectors and treasure hunters? Do you have a pile of pennies lying around in your drawer? Maybe, just maybe, you're sitting on a small fortune. No, seriously, a small fortune. Stick with me for the next 40 minutes, because today, we're talking about one of the most surprising penny coins you could have, the 2006 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. This little copper gem has a current market value of $1.2 million. Yeah, you heard that right, a penny worth over $1 million. Now, I know what you're thinking, a penny? Seriously? Trust me, after today's deep dive, you'll be looking at pennies in a whole new way. We're going to break down everything you need to know about the 2006 Lincoln penny, what makes it so valuable, how to spot it, and most importantly, how to figure out if you've got one hidden in your collection. But first, let me tell you this story. I once stumbled across a penny that I thought was just an old coin, tossed it in a drawer, and forgot about it. Fast forward a few years, and turns out that penny was worth more than my car at the time. Can you imagine? The lesson here? Always check your change and your collections. Now, let's get into it. In 2006, the US Mint released a series of pennies with different mint marks, including the famous D4 Denver. The 2006 penny was designed just like any other penny, but here's where things get crazy. There was a manufacturing error in a very specific batch of coins that went unnoticed for years. Some of those pennies were struck with an incorrect copper alloy mixture, creating a unique composition that wasn't supposed to exist. Now, let me tell you, not all 2006 pennies are worth this kind of money. It's rare. We're talking about a needle in a haystack situation. If you have one of these rare pennies, it's not just about being in the right place at the right time. The penny has to have certain characteristics like a perfect strike, no visible damage, and clear minting errors. And these pennies, folks, are getting more and more scarce by the day. And if you have this penny in mint condition, we're talking pristine, with those error characteristics, you could easily sell it at auction for $1.2 million. That's right, one penny. The power of errors in minting is real. This penny could be your ticket to early retirement or at least an epic vacation. Now, let's break down the specifics on how to spot one of these elusive gems. First off, look for the mint mark. You'll see a D just below Abraham Lincoln's shoulder on the reverse side. That's your starting point. But just having that D doesn't mean you've found a treasure. You'll need to look closely at the condition of the coin. A penny with wear, scratches, or discoloration is not going to be worth anywhere near $1.20 million. You want to look for an example in absolute mint condition, shiny, flawless, and looking like it was just struck yesterday. A clean, crisp edge and perfect details around Lincoln's portrait are key here. You may be wondering, how do you even know if your penny is a true 2006 mint error coin or just a regular OL penny? Well, a professional grader can help you confirm this. There are a lot of myths floating around about how to tell these rare pennies apart from regular ones, but truth be told, the real deal needs to be authenticated by a coin grading service. PSA and NGC are two big names in this industry, and they can help you determine if your coin's value really stacks up. Did you know that pennies used to be made out of solid copper? Yep, back in the day, a penny was worth about 1/100th of a dollar, but it actually cost more to make than it was worth. Over time, they started using cheaper materials like zinc and copper-plated steel. The 2006 mint penny is still made mostly of copper, which is why it stands out from the rest. So, let's recap. If you're lucky enough to find a 2006 Lincoln penny in mint condition, and it has that special minting error, you could be looking at a coin worth over $1.2 million. It's crazy, I know, but it's true. That little penny could be hiding in your collection right now, but remember, not every 2006 penny is worth a fortune. It has to be in perfect shape with that rare minting error. And always keep an eye out, this is one of those you won't know until you look situations. The world of rare coins is full of surprises, and sometimes, it's the smallest pieces of change that bring the biggest rewards. Next time you're going through your change, don't just throw those pennies in the jar or toss them aside. You could be holding onto a mini goldmine. If you found this video helpful and entertaining, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our future tips and tricks on coins worth money. Trust me, there's more to come, and you won't want to miss out on what's next. Drop a comment if you've ever found a valuable coin in your collection, and let's chat about it. Remember, folks, it's not just about having coins, it's about knowing which ones are worth more than a meal at a 5-star restaurant. Stay curious, keep collecting, and I'll catch you in the next video. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share it with your fellow coin enthusiasts. I mean, who wouldn't want to find a penny worth over $1 million? Hey there, fellow coin lovers and curious treasure hunters, welcome back to the channel where we turn pocket change into potential paydays. Now before you toss out that old penny you found in your couch cushions, hang tight because today we're diving into the wild story of a 1968 D Lincoln penny that's worth not one not two but $1.3 million. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, a penny worth $1 million? Sounds like a fairy tale your grandpa would tell after 3 cups of coffee, but I promise this is the real deal, so sit back, grab your magnifying glass and maybe raid your piggy bank because this could be the most valuable minute you've spent all day. Alright, let's get into it. First things first, what's the big deal about the 1968 D penny? Well, it starts with the mint mark, that little d under the date. That D stands for Denver, and normally it's just a sign of where the coin was minted, nothing to write home about, but in 1968 something weird happened. A small batch of these pennies came out with near perfect condition, and some were even struck on the wrong metal planchets, making them ridiculously rare. Now the average 1968 D penny is worth like 1 cent, maybe a little more. If it's in decent shape you could maybe trade it for half a stick of gum or a stare of disappointment from a cashier, but there's always an exception to the rule. In this case, one of those humble brown pennies has been appraised at $1.3 million. Why, you ask? Because it had a rare combination of a double die obverse and was accidentally struck on a 95% copper planchet that was phased out later in 1982. I actually have a funny story here. So last year I was at a garage sale, just doing my usual weekend treasure hunt, and I spotted this old mason jar full of pennies. The guy says take it for $1. I thought, why not? It's $1 for like 50 pennies, maybe I can score a few Wheaties while I get home. Dump the jar out and start looking, and I kid you not, I find a 1968 D that looks almost uncirculated. I had my heart racing faster than a caffeine-fueled squirrel on a trampoline. Spoiler alert, mine wasn't worth $1.3 million, but it did go for $75, which is still a win in my book. So how do you know if your 1968 D penny is worth a fortune? First, grab a magnifying glass or one of those cool little jeweler's loupes you've seen collectors use. You want to look closely at Lincoln's face, the lettering, and especially the word Liberty. If you notice doubling or extra thickness, that could be a doubled die, which is one of the rare error types. Next, check the color and weight. A real copper penny should weigh around 3.11 grams. If it's way off, like noticeably lighter or heavier, then you might have something special going on. And hey, don't clean it. Whatever you do, don't take out the brasso and start polishing. It's not a doorknob, it's a coin, and cleaning it can drop the value faster than a mic at a rap battle. There's also something called full steps on the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. That's coin geek speak for when the steps are fully struck and visible. That's another indicator of a high-grade coin. If you think you've hit the jackpot, don't just throw it on eBay, take it to a professional coin grader like PCGS or NGC. These folks can tell you exactly what you've got and certify it, which is essential if you're looking to sell for big bucks. Now you might be wondering why anyone would pay $1.3 million for a penny. Well, for serious collectors it's all about rarity, historical value, and condition, and let's be honest, some of them just really like to flex at coin conventions. Nothing says baller like slapping down a penny worth more than a Lamborghini. So here's the deal, check those old change jars, raid your grandma's purse, search under the couch cushions. Who knows, you might just find a 1968 D Lincoln penny with that perfect mix of rarity and error that could change your life. And even if you don't strike it rich, you'll definitely learn a ton along the way. Coin collecting isn't just about money, it's about the thrill of the hunt, the stories behind each coin, and sometimes just the satisfaction of finding something cool and old that connects us to history. Before you run off to dig through your coin stash, do me a solid, smash that like button if you learned something today, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos about coins worth crazy amounts of money. I've got tons of tips coming your way, from rare nickels to valuable quarters, and yes, even more $1 million pennies. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters and pocket change checkers, welcome back to the channel where we turn pennies into paydays and piggy banks into gold mines. Now hold on to your seats, because what if I told you that a regular looking 2002 Lincoln penny, the kind you probably used to scratch off a lottery ticket or toss in a fountain for luck, is now worth $1.4 million? Yep, you heard me right, $1.4 million for a penny that doesn't even have a mint mark. Before you run off to dig through your couch cushions, stay with me because this story has twists, turns, and a whole lot of shiny copper glory. So let's dive into the mysterious case of the 2002 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. How did this humble little coin become one of the most expensive pocket change items of all time? Let's break it down in plain old everyday English, no numismatic jargon overload, I promise. Alright, first let's talk about what a no mint mark coin even is. When coins are made, the US Mint usually adds a little letter to show where it was made: P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, S for San Francisco. But sometimes, and this is where things get juicy, a coin gets made without any mint mark at all. Now in 2002 most pennies were made at the Philadelphia Mint, and back then Philly didn't bother putting a mint mark on the coin. So you're probably thinking, wait a second, wouldn't all Philly pennies be no mint mark? That's true, but here's the kicker: the $1 million 2002 penny isn't just valuable because It lacks a mint mark. It's rare because of a perfect storm of minting error, unique composition, and jaw-dropping condition. Some of these 2002 no mint mark pennies were accidentally struck on the wrong metal planchet. That means instead of being the usual copper-plated zinc, they were made from a completely different alloy, maybe even leftover blanks from previous years. That's like trying to bake a chocolate cake but using pancake mix, and it still comes out tasting like magic. That's the kind of happy accident we're talking about. And if your coin has a high grade from a professional grading service like MS70, you're really in business. That's basically the coin equivalent of a straight A student who also runs marathons, volunteers for charity, and never leaves the house without perfectly combed hair. Now let me tell you a little story. I used to think collecting coins was just something grandpa did while wearing suspenders and watching reruns of Matlock, but then one day back in 2019 I was cleaning out my junk drawer, the one that has a single AA battery, expired coupons, and 37 paper clips, and I found a 2002 penny with no mint mark. I almost used it to pry open a paint can, but something told me to check it first. Maybe it was fate, maybe it was just procrastination. Either way, I looked it up and nearly passed out right there in the garage. Now mine wasn't the $1 million one, sadly, but it was still worth a few $100, and that little copper miracle got me hooked on coin collecting. I've been diving into the world of rare coins ever since and sharing what I learned right here on this channel. So what should you look for in your own 2002 no mint mark penny? First, check for weight and sound. If it sounds slightly different when dropped or feels heavier than a regular penny, you might have a rare composition. Next, look closely at the strike details. If Lincoln's hair looks unusually sharp or the lettering is extra crisp, that's a good sign. Then flip it over and see if there are any weird errors like doubling cracks or off-center strikes. These are like the birthmarks that make coins one of a kind and highly collectible. And here's a little collector tip: carry a small magnifying glass with you. You'll look like Sherlock Holmes and feel like Indiana Jones, because finding one of these pennies in your change is literally a treasure hunt. Also, get familiar with coin grading. It might sound boring, but knowing how coins are rated from circulated to mint state is like knowing how to read labels at the grocery store. It helps you spot the good stuff from the regular old canned beans. Now let's talk about the market. Why would anyone pay $1.4 million for a penny? Well, rare coins are like fine art or baseball cards. They're collected by investors, hobbyists, and sometimes even celebrities. It's not just about the face value, it's about the history, rarity, and condition. And some people just love the thrill of owning something almost nobody else has. Collectors have paid huge sums at auctions for coins that looked ordinary at first glance but had unique traits. And with a coin like the 2002 no mint mark penny, once one or two sales set the standard, the price can skyrocket faster than a squirrel on espresso. Imagine paying for a vending machine snack with the coin and finding out later you fed it to a Twix bar. I bet that's someone's worst day ever. Alright folks, so here's the takeaway: don't ignore your pennies. They may not dingle like quarters or feel fancy like dollar coins, but sometimes they're hiding serious secrets inside. Check your 2002 pennies. Look for no mint marks. Check for odd weight or color. Study the details, and if you think you've got something special, get it graded. You never know, that tiny little copper coin could be your ticket to early retirement, a new car, or at least a vacation that doesn't involve tent camping in your backyard. And hey, if you found this video helpful or at least mildly entertaining, make sure you smash that subscribe button like it owes you money. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another episode of Rare Coin Madness. We've got more videos coming your way on valuable nickels, quarters, and even some coins that people are literally throwing away without knowing what they're worth. So if you're the kind of person who checks their change before they spend it, you're in the right place. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel where your pocket change might just pay for your dream house. But what if I told you that penny you ignored could have been worth $1.5 million? Yup, today we're talking about one of the sneakiest little treasures hiding right in plain sight, the 1984 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And let me tell you, this isn't your average boring old brown coin that gets stuck between your couch cushions. This one is basically the Beyoncé of pennies: rare, valuable, and worth showing off. So grab a drink, kick back, and hang tight, because we're diving into the crazy world of coin collecting and why this little coppery champion is making headlines and blowing minds. Alright, story time. I remember one time I was cleaning out the junk drawer in my kitchen, the one filled with random batteries that may or may not work, rubber bands, a pack of ketchup from 2009, and about 50 pennies. I started sorting them out just for fun because I'm a little weird like that. And I found this penny that looked weird, like something was off. Now it wasn't the 1984D, but it sparked my interest, and down the coin rabbit hole I went. Next thing I know, I'm deep into forums, YouTube videos, and even that shady corner of the internet where people trade rare coins like they're secret treasure maps. And that's how I learned about the 1984D penny, the absolute king of unexpected value. The 1984D penny comes with a juicy story. See the US Mint in Denver, which is what the D stands for, had a little oops moment while striking some of these pennies. Some were produced with a dramatic doubling error, most noticeable on Lincoln's ear. We're talking about a second earlobe that's clearly visible, like Lincoln had a twin ear growing out of his head. Collectors call this a double die, and in the coin world that's like finding a unicorn eating a four-leaf clover while riding a shooting star. Now most pennies with doubling aren't that valuable, but the 1984D is different. Why? Because of a combination of rarity, strong visual doubling, and the fact that this is a D mint coin which was less prone to errors compared to its Philly cousin. So when a 1984 D double die penny shows up, the collecting community goes bananas. We're talking bidding wars, auctions, collectors foaming at the mouth, not literally but almost, and the top sale of this coin recently hit $1.5 million. Let me say that again, a penny that cost 1 cent to make sold for $1.5 million. And here's the kicker: some of these valuable pennies are still out there in circulation. Yep, in your change jar, your glove box, that weird pile of coins next to the dryer that somehow never moves but keeps growing. Now, before you go quitting your job to become a full-time penny hunter, let's talk about how to tell if you have the $1 million version. First, grab a magnifying glass, or if you're like me and can't find one, use your phone camera and zoom in real close. Check Lincoln's ear. If it looks like he's got a second ear or his lobe is doing the cha-cha, you might have something special. Also, make sure it's got that sweet little D under the date on the front. That's how you know it came from Denver. Condition matters too. The best value comes from coins in mint or near mint state, meaning they haven't been beaten up in someone's jeans for 20 years, but even worn versions can still bring in hundreds or thousands if the error is clear. If you think you have one, don't run to the pawn shop just yet. Get it verified by a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll tell you what it's worth and give you an official certification, which is like a report card for coins but without the disappointment. Now let's get into why coins like this skyrocket in value. There's demand from collectors, obviously, but also from investors who see rare coins as stable assets. The older and rarer the coin, the more valuable it tends to be, especially if there's a cool story or an error involved. And let's be honest, who doesn't love the underdog story of a penny going from ignored to iconic? Plus, think about how many pennies get tossed aside or lost over the years. Each one makes the survivors even more valuable. It's basically Darwinism, but for coins. And here's a fun fact: some collectors are even offering bounties for these coins, like literal cash rewards just for finding onites, like Pokemon Go, but with real money. So next time you're at the store and they hand you change, don't just shove it in your pocket without looking. Check those dates. Check for mint marks and look for weirdness, because weird in the coin world often means wealthy. I once met a guy at a coin show who found a rare penny in a McDonald's parking lot. No joke, he literally bent down to pick up a crusty penny next to a chicken nugget and ended up selling it for $3,000. Moral of the story: always pick up that penny, always. So to wrap it all up, the 1984 D Lincoln penny isn't just another old coin, it's a potential gold mine with a unique doubling error, rare Denver mint mark, and sky-high demand. It has become one of the most sought-after modern pennies out there, and at a current market value of $1.5 million, this coin proves that even the smallest things can be worth a fortune. Now, if you've made it this far, congratulations, you're officially a coin nerd, and I say that with love. If you want more videos on coins worth serious cash, how to spot valuable errors, and other money-making finds hiding in your pocket, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you've ever ignored a penny and now regret it deeply, and drop a comment if you think you've got a rare coin stashed away. Who knows, maybe your story will be our next video. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters and couch change flippers, welcome back to the channel where your spare change might just make you rich. If you've ever rolled your eyes at a penny on the ground thinking not worth the bend, well, today's episode might just have you diving headfirst into your couch cushions, because believe it or not, there's a 2020 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny floating around out there with a jaw-dropping value of $16 million. Yup, you heard that right, a single penny 1 cent could buy you a mansion, a Lamborghini, and probably still leave enough for a lifetime supply of tacos. So grab your coin jars, your old jeans, and let's talk about this mind-blowing copper-coated jackpot. We're gonna break it all down: what makes this penny so valuable, where to look for it, and even share a personal story that proves you should never underestimate loose change. Alright, first things first, let's talk about the basics. The 2020 D Lincoln penny is part of the modern shield reverse design series. You've seen it: Honest Abe on the front, looking classy and patriotic, and the Union Shield on the back, all official and presidential looking. Now, normally these pennies are worth exactly what they say on the tin: 1 cent. You can't even buy half a piece of gum with it these days. But then there's that penny, the one with the D mint mark from Denver, the one that somehow ended up being the unicorn of all modern change. Why is it worth $16 million, you ask? Well, like most valuable coins, it all comes down to two magic words: error coin. This particular 2020 D penny has a very specific kind of mint error. It was struck on the wrong planchet. That's coin nerd speak for saying it was printed on the wrong type of metal. Blank mix up at the mint. Think of it like trying to print $100 bill on a napkin, not what it was meant for. Now pair that with a crazy rare condition, perfect strike, no scratches, pristine surfaces, all that good stuff, and boom, you've got a coin that collectors are going absolutely bonkers for. I mean, who knew a tiny mistake at the Denver Mint could create such chaos in the coin world? It's like the mint worker sneezed at the wrong moment and accidentally created a millionaire. And speaking of chaos, let me tell you a quick story that might hit close to home. A few months ago, I was at my uncle's barbecue, you know, the kind where everyone's pretending they don't care about calories and someone always brings that one weird potato salad. Nobody eats it, but everyone Compliments it anyway. I was digging through my niece's coin jar to show her what mint marks are. Because that's what the cool uncles do, right? And boom, right there I spotted a 2020 penny with a D mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. I felt like Indiana Jones finding the Holy Grail. I flipped it over, examined it under the porch light, and yep, it was just a regular penny. I didn't become a millionaire that day, but for a glorious 2 minutes I was already shopping for a yacht on my phone. So lesson here: always check your change back to the valuable penny. Though this bad boy was confirmed by professional graders, it's been authenticated and certified as one of the rarest error coins of the decade, which is why it sold at auction for a whopping $16 million. But don't worry, you don't need to be some elite coin collector to find one of these. You just need a little patience, a good magnifying glass, and a serious eye for detail. First, make sure the penny is from 2020 and has a D mint mark just below the date. That's the Denver Mint. Next, check the weight. A normal penny should weigh about 25 grams. If it's off even slightly, especially heavier or lighter, you might have something special. Also, take a close look at the edges and the strike. If it looks off center or the details are super crisp with some weird metal color, it could be an error. And please, for the love of copper, don't clean it. Whatever grime or dirt is on there might actually help it stand out to collectors. Now, where can you find these magic pennies? Honestly, anywhere. People have found them in change from fast food runs, coin rolls from the bank, and yes, even buried under sofa cushions. Here's a little coin hunting strategy. 1. Use, I call it the fast food penny probe. Buy something small like a drink, pay with $1, and always take the coins. Never use a card. You'd be amazed how many collectible coins get passed along through drive-thrus. Also, hit up your local banks, ask for rolls of pennies, and go through them with a good light and a magnifier. It's relaxing like fishing, but with the potential for $1 million catch. Oh, and one last thing: if you think you found one of these miracle coins, take it to a professional grader like PCGS or NGC. They'll tell you if you've struck gold or just another copper clone. So there you have it, folks, the 2020 D Lincoln penny, a 1-cent coin that's worth more than most people's houses. If that doesn't get you to start checking your pockets, I don't know what will. Remember, it's not just about luck, it's about paying attention to the small stuff, coins that slip through the cracks of history, errors made in split seconds. Those are the treasures that can change lives, and who knows, maybe the next millionaire coin is already jingling in your pocket. If you learned something today or just had a laugh thinking about sneezing mint workers and taco mansions, go ahead and hit the like button. And hey, if you want more tips, tricks, and crazy true stories about coins that are worth serious cash, make sure you subscribe. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next one. We're diving into a nickel worth $500,000, and spoiler alert, it came from a vending machine. Hey there, treasure hunters, coin lovers, and accidental millionaires in the making. Welcome back to the channel where pocket change could mean a life-changing payday. There's a 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny floating out there in the wild that's worth an eye-popping, jaw-dropping, bank account breaking $1.7 million. Yeah, you heard that right, not $17, not $17,000. We're talking full-blown mansion money from a single cent. Today we're diving deep into how this little copper coin from the disco era managed to go from spare change to superstar. Plus, I'll be telling you a super embarrassing story about how I almost spent one of these at a vending machine, and spoiler alert, it involved a very stubborn bag of chips. So grab your coin jars, pull up a chair, and let's get to the bottom of why this 1978 Lincoln penny is more than just your average aid. The 1978 Lincoln penny was part of the classic wheatback/memorial reverse coins, depending on the year you're referencing, and by 78 we were well into the memorial era. Now here's the kicker: if you find one from 1978 and it doesn't have a mint mark below the date, that means it was struck in Philadelphia. Philadelphia didn't put mint marks on their pennies back then. That's normal, so the no mint mark part isn't what makes this coin rare. So why the $1 million price tag? Good question, and we'll get there, but first a little coin nerd history, because who doesn't love a good backstory, right? Millions of 1978 Lincoln pennies were minted, and they're mostly worth face value or a few cents if you're lucky, and they're shiny, but a select few were struck on the wrong planchet or had serious errors like double dies, off-center strikes, or even struck with proof dies not meant for circulation. Now, a 1978 penny with a no mint mark that's struck on a transitional planchet or has a high-grade double die error in mint state condition with perfect luster and no scratches is like hitting the jackpot while finding a 4-leaf clover under a rainbow on your birthday. These rare error versions are what fetched the big bucks, and one of them reportedly sold for over $1.7 million in a private auction. And yes, that sound you just heard was every viewer sprinting to their sock drawer. Section 3: what to look for. Okay, so what should you look for if you're hoping to find this money magnet? First, check the date. Obviously it needs to say 1978. Then flip that coin and check for the mint mark, or rather the lack of it, which again is normal for Philadelphia, but keep going. Next, examine the surface. Is it unusually shiny, or does the detail look super crisp, almost like it was struck by Zeus himself? That could be a clue it was struck using proof dies. And here's the big one: check for doubling, especially in Lincoln's eye, the date or the lettering like I in God We Trust or LIBRTY. If things look wonky or doubled, you might be holding a double die. Also keep an eye out for weight errors. The coin should weigh around 3.11 grams. If it's copper or 2.5 grams, if it's zinc, if your scale is saying something weird, you might have a transitional error. I am standing in front of a vending machine on the third floor of my old office building. I'm hungry, it's 3 p.m. The lunch burrito from the gas station is wearing off and I'm craving pretzels like my life depends on it. I reach into my pocket, pull out some change, and there it is, a 1978 no mint mark penny. Now I'm a coin geek, so I pause and look at it and think, huh, this one looks kinda nice and shiny, and maybe, just maybe, but the pretzels were calling, and I shrugged, tossed it in with the other coins and punched in my selection. Clink clink, the machine jams and eats my money and I get no pretzels. Fast forward a year later, I see a coin just like it listed online for over $1 million, and I screamed into a couch cushion. Lesson learned: always double check your change before you feed it to the snack gods. Now let's get a little technical, because if you do find a suspiciously nice 1978 penny, the next step is getting it graded. You'll want to send it to a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or Ank. They'll examine the coin for authenticity, quality, and any error features. If your penny comes back graded MS67 or higher and has an error or unique characteristic, you might just be sitting on a fortune. So let's say you strike gold and your penny is legit. What next? Don't go listing it on your local yard sale page. That's like trading a Ferrari for a lawnmower. You'll want to go through a major auction house or a high-end coin dealer who deals with rare pieces. They can connect you with serious collectors who'll pay the big bucks. And remember, always get multiple appraisals, because you never know who's trying to lowball you. Keep an eye out for the 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die, the 1969 S double die, and yes, even some weird modern ones like the 1982 small date copper. These babies have also sold for thousands and sometimes millions, so your penny jar might be more valuable than your retirement account. Alright folks, we've laughed, we've learned, and hopefully nobody's sprinting to their vending machine with regret like I did. The 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny may just be the humble coin that changes your life. So next time you get change at the grocery store or find an old penny in the couch cushions, take a second look. You never know when 1 cent could turn into $1.7 million. If you found this video helpful, funny, or mildly amusing, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a chance to learn about coins that could make you rich. And hey, drop a comment if you've ever found a weird or rare coin. I'd love to hear your stories or just nerd out together. Hey folks, do you have a jar full of pennies just collecting dust somewhere in your kitchen, or maybe buried deep in your couch cushions? Well, what if I told you one of those little copper guys might be worth more than your car? I'm not even kidding. One specific penny from 2006 with a little D mint mark could be worth up to $1.8 million. That's not pocket change, that's life-changing money. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but stay with me, because today we're diving deep into the world of the 2006 D mint mark Lincoln penny. We'll talk about what makes this coin so rare, why it's valued so high, and how to spot one if you're lucky enough to have it hiding in your stash. Plus, I'll share a funny little story about how I almost spent a rare coin at a gas station for a Snickers bar. True story, you don't want to miss that. Alright, grab a cup of coffee, maybe a magnifying glass if you're feeling fancy, and let's talk about how a penny could make you a millionaire. Back in 2006, the US Mint pumped out billions with a B of Lincoln pennies. We're talking about the classic design that's been around forever. Good old Honest Abe sitting proudly on the front with the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's the kicker, there are a few of these coins minted in Denver, the D mint mark right below the date, that came out with some serious errors or unusual compositions, and that's where things get interesting. Now most of these pennies are worth, well, a penny, maybe two if you're trying to trade with your little brother, but a rare few were made with mistakes or anomalies that collectors go absolutely bonkers for. We're talking off-center strikes, double dies, missing mint marks, or even being struck on the wrong metal planchet, you know, like the coin version of being born with superpowers. One known 2006 D penny was struck on a zinc planchet meant for another denomination, or with a major striking error, and it sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Imagine flipping through your change jar and finding that sucker. You'd go from Taco Tuesday to Lobster Wednesday real quick. Alright, let me tell you about that gas station story I mentioned earlier. So I'm on a road trip, right? I've got like a 2-hour drive ahead of me. I pull into this sketchy little gas station in the middle of nowhere and I'm craving sugar. I dig through my car's cup holder, find some change, and slap it down on the counter to pay for a candy bar. I kid you not, the guy behind the counter picks up the penny, looks at it, squints, and goes, "Huh, this one looks weird." Now being the nerd that I am, I'm like, wait, what? Show me that again. I take a closer look and it's a 2006 D penny with what looked like an off-center strike and a slight doubling in the date. I snatched that coin back faster than a toddler with candy. I still have it to this day, and while it hasn't been professionally graded yet, it just might be something special. I came this close to trading it for a Snickers and a lukewarm soda. Alright, so what should you be looking for if you want to find one of these magical $1 million pennies? Number 1, check for the D mint mark. It'll be just below the year on the front of the coin. If it's not there, move along. Number 2, look at the coin's condition. If it's beat up, scratched, or looking like it's been through a garbage disposal, it's probably not the golden ticket. But if it looks sharp, clean, and well struck, you might have something. Number 3, errors, baby. This is where the real money is. Double dies are When the coin looks like it has shadows on the letters or numbers because it was stamped more than once off center, strikes make it look like Abe's taking a walk off the edge of the coin, and planchet errors where the coin is made of the wrong metal, those are pure gold figuratively speaking of course. Now here's where things get even more real. If you think you've got a 2006 penny that fits any of these descriptions, don't just toss it in your piggy bank, get it appraised, send it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. These folks will slap a grade on it and tell you if you're looking at a 2-cent coin or a $2 million windfall. There are also online coin forums where people post photos and get feedback from other collectors. Reddit has some great subreddits like r/coins where you can ask for opinions. Just make sure your lighting doesn't make it look like you took the photo in a cave. People want to help, but they also want to see what they're looking at. And here's another tip: start going to garage sales and flea markets. You'd be amazed how often people sell old coin collections without knowing what they have. I once picked up a whole bag of pennies for $5 and ended up finding 2 semi-valuable ones worth a couple $100 each. Not a bad return on investment for the price of a latte. One, the 2006 Lincoln penny might just be hiding in your junk drawer, and it could be worth $1.8 million if it has the right kind of error or minting mistake too. Always check your change because treasure isn't always buried, it might be jingling in your pocket. 3. Don't use potentially rare coins to buy candy, no matter how much you're craving chocolate. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins that could make you rich or at least make you look super cool at parties when you start talking about rare pennies, hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more videos coming on coin collecting, how to spot valuable errors and how to turn a boring coin jar into a treasure chest. And hey, if you've got a rare coin story, drop it in the comments. I love hearing about wild finds. You never know, your story might be featured in a future video.